So the next step is to put everything together. It's all clean. Start by putting the follower into the magazine body, and then take the button, and I usually start it up at the top, and then you can just slide it up and it'll slide down with the button engaged on the slot in the magazine. The magazine spring goes in with the sort of upper end forward. So that goes in there like that. And then one of the things that you have to be careful about, there's a pocket in the bottom of the base, and you want to make sure that you get the spring properly seated into that pocket. And then you press everything together with the base a little bit forward until you can get the pin engaged in the slot. And it should, without too much of a battle, slide together. And again, with a light background, it's easy to look through the hole and make sure that everything is lined up. And you want to examine the roll pin, and typically there's some variation. One end will have a bit more of a taper than the other, and it just makes things go easier if you start things with the taper. If you're going to use the bench block, you want to make sure that you start from the side that's going to be up. And this one's pretty symmetrical, but I'll try it this way. And it'll press into place in the plastic just fine. And a lot of times you can just tap it in from there. Get it in the bench block, it's not going to fly apart. The roll pin starter can help. Ideally, as I said, you can just push and it will feed. Now that one's putting up a bit of a fight, which may mean that it's not well centered, but it looks pretty good. So this one's probably going to take some tapping. So using the roll pin punch, yeah, it's driving in. It's got needs some force. Now when you get down towards the end, this one actually went in very nicely. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's only sticking up a little bit. The problem is that there's nothing to guide the far end of the pin into the hole in the magazine body on the far side. And you want to be careful if you start feeling resistance when you're most of the way there, maybe with a little more than 1/16 of an inch of the pin sticking up. What you want to do is make sure that the far end of the roll pin is centered in the hole, and that's where having the fine needlepoint scriber can work. You stick it into the hole in the roll pin and kind of stir around, and ideally you'll feel it pop into registration with the hole in the magazine body on the far side. This one went in nice and straight, not going to cause a problem, so you just tap it home. Again, it's not super critical, but I like to get them roughly the same on both sides. And now your magazine's all together. And ideally, it should run nice and smooth, and you're back in business.